Hey, it's Tuesday night and 8 o'clock, so it's time to read another Choose Your Own Adventure. This one is called Earthquake by Allison Gilligan, and it's Choose Your Own Adventure number 129. Right, and here's a closer look at the front cover. You can get a better look at these bros. Like, instead of responding to an earthquake, it looks like they're just like, whoa, dude. Whoa, these drugs are pretty far out, man. They just look like kind of dopey. Alright. Alright, as usual, I'll read the back cover. You're the star at 12 exciting endings. What will you do when the big one hits? You're visiting San Francisco when suddenly a strange rumbling fills the air and buildings begin to shake. It's a major earthquake. Whoa. You look around and see an old man pinned to the sidewalk by rubble. You want to help him, but a friend of yours may be in even bigger trouble nearby. Every second counts. What are you going to do? If you decide to help the old man, turn to page 43. If you think your friend needs your help more urgently, turn to page 32. Whatever you do, stay alert. In the aftermath of the quake, a lot of people will need your help, and your bravery could mean the difference between life and death. But if you're not careful, you could be the one who needs saving. What happens next in the story? It all depends on the choices you make. How does the story end? Only you can find out. And the best part is you can keep reading and rereading till you've had not one, but many incredibly daring experiences. Excuse me. What's going on? Play story, emos. Don't help old people. Oh, Rob, it's okay. You were busy rescuing an old man from a natural disaster. I know. Happens to me all the time. I often have to rescue old people from disasters. Well, I did rescue old people from disasters back when I worked at Comcast, at a Comcast call center. Disasters and like their cable TV not working. Alright, and as usual, kids can't stop reading the Choose Your Own Adventure stories, and teachers love them too. What's going on my throat? Okay. Earthquake. There we go. Earthquake. Illustrated by Hal Frank. Hal Frank. And the cover art is by James Warhola. This was published in November 1992. I wonder if this was before or after the big earthquake that they had recently. Yeah, recently, back in the early 90s. Pretty recent, right? After 2 years of COVID, I have a theory that the old people don't want to be rescued. Yeah, is that what they mean by deaths of despair? They just give up. Actually, that is pretty sad, but yeah. And this is from Mag and Shannon. For Mag and for Shannon, also. Warning. Do not read this book straight through from beginning to end. These pages contain many different adventures that you may have when an earthquake hits while you're visiting San Francisco. From time to time, as you read along, you'll be asked to make a choice. Your choice may lead to success or disaster. The adventures you have are the result of your choices. You are responsible because you choose. After you make a choice, follow the instructions to find out what happens to you next. Think carefully before you make a decision. In the aftermath of the quake, San Francisco lies in ruins, and danger awaits around every corner. Many lives hang in the balance. You may become a hero, or you may never make it home alive. Good luck! And here we are. Here's the San Andreas Fault. That's the Pacific Ocean right there. We weren't sure what that was. And that's San Rafael. And that's the Bay Bridge, and that's San Francisco. So we know what all that is now. You're seated on a new Boeing 767 bound for San Francisco. You're on your way to visit your best friend, Maxwell McCurt. Growing up together in Vermont, you and Max were inseparable. But a year ago, his father got a job offer in San Francisco, and the McCurts decided to move. Max now has a summer internship as a research assistant at the San Francisco Zoological Gardens, otherwise known as the Zoo. Well, I think they all would also be just known as the Zoo, right? From what he's told you, Max works with all sorts of advanced computer programs to study animal behavior. You're excited to go and help him out. You're also looking forward to seeing your best friend. This visit will be the first time you've seen him since his family moved. An hour into the flight, you happen to glance at a paper the woman sitting next to you is reading. It's titled, "On the Breaking Edge of Earthquakes, New Theories in Seismology." You've always been a little curious about earthquakes, and since you're heading into the heart of earthquake country, you decide to ask her what seismology is, quote unquote. Most people understand very little about seismology, or seismologists, your seatmate says. The twinkle in her deep blue eyes reveals the excitement she has for her work. Sounds like we have a thing for older women or something. Twinkle in her deep blue eyes. Seismology is the scientific study of earthquakes. Seismologists are those of us who study quakes and how to predict them. She shakes her hand. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Professor Lynn Bailey, head of the Stiles Seismology Lab. There we go. Looks like we just made a new best friend. It says Scientology, not seismology. Oh yeah, no, she's actually a Scientologist. Something tells me it's all happening at the zoo. Yeah, she probably doesn't want to talk to us. Right, turn to page 2. You're not sure, but you think you've heard Professor Bailey's name on TV in connection with news reports of recent tremors in and around San Francisco. The tremors worried your parents so much they almost didn't let you take this trip. So the reason San Francisco is prone to earthquakes is because of its location near the San Andreas Fault, you ask her? You're well informed, Professor Bailey says, obviously impressed. Earthquakes occur along geological fault lines and are caused by subterranean volcanic forces. San Francisco happens to be right on the edge of a continental plate. That's why we seismologists flock there. We're all hoping to predict the big one, the next earthquake of the magnitude of the famous San Francisco earthquake of 1906. Your work sounds pretty exciting, you say. How do you tell if a quake is coming? There are 2 new theories about prediction, Professor Bailey replies. The one I subscribe to measures the emission of radon gas from the Earth. A sudden increase in radon gas signals that an earthquake is imminent. And the other, you ask? An old wives' tale, she scoffs. Some New Age nutcase, Dr. Farnsworth Orion, got a $2 million grant to study the behavior of zoo animals in order to determine if they get all jittery before a tremor. It's quite ridiculous, really. What's worse is that Orion is my main rival for the Whitbread Prize. Almost thought that said Whitebread Prize. All right, go on to the next page. The Whitbread Prize, you ask? It's given to the person in the field making the greatest advances in seismology, she says eagerly. The one who wins it will have the freedom to study and work and travel without ever having to worry about money again. For the rest of the trip, Professor Bailey keeps you spellbound with her tales of destruction surrounding recent earthquakes and her methods of predicting them. As the plane is coming in for a landing, she says, the Stiles Lab is in Whitvick Research Center in San Francisco. If you're interested, I'll be glad to give you and your friend a tour of our facilities. I'd love to visit, you say. Since Monday is your friend Max's day off, you arrange for the 2 of you to meet Professor Bailey at the lab on Monday morning. We're in the basement, she explains, closer to the Earth's core. That's our motto, she laughs. Actually, we've got emissions testing equipment down there, with a data collection center on the 2nd floor, monitoring radon emissions from 5 spots in greater San Francisco, 12 spots along the San Andreas Fault, and 3 along the coast. It's pretty sad to hear her trying to get grants. Calling her colleagues New Age nutcases is why she didn't get the prize. All jittery. Yeah, her main rival is Dr. Vivaldi. That's who the New Age nutcase is. It's actually Dr. Vivaldi. Turn to page 30. How's the testing going, you ask? Wondering if her radon readings show any signs of coming tremors. It's coming along well, she replies seriously. Maybe too well. Just then the wheels of the plane touch down, reminding you that you are going to be right on top of the San Andreas Fault for the next month. You hope the readings don't mean any earthquake will hit before you leave. Professor Bailey shakes your hand and offers you her business card. I'll tell you all about my tests when you visit, she says, getting out of her seat and heading down the aisle. Oh, looks like there's already a tremor coming along here. Oh yeah, we had to get a radon. We have something that removes the radon in our basement. All right, turn to page 6. Oh, that's not page 6. Hey, you! You hear as you enter the terminal building. Your friend Max is running towards you, grinning from ear to ear, looking much thinner than he did a year ago. You haven't gained an ounce, he says, slapping you hard on the back. And you reply, smiling. You've lost a ton. Back in Vermont, Max was always one of the chubbiest kids in school. Now, although he's still stocky, he is trimmer and more muscular. Almost 30 pounds, he says happily. I've taken up jogging, swimming, and tennis. Needed to have a physique to match the brains. Very Californian, you know. You laugh. Max looks great. And he wasn't kidding about the brains either. He's terrific in science. Practically a genius. My mom's here somewhere, Max declares, searching the crowd. We're going to hop in the car and zoom into town. Dad's meeting us at Zuni Cafe and Grill for dinner. You're going to love this place. Full course Italian. You've got your pasta, your meat, your fish. You grin and shake your head. One thing you've always loved about Max, he may be something of a science nerd, but he sure knows how to appreciate great food. He is so thin in science. He used to be super chubby, but now he's gotten himself ripped. Is that fat shaming? I would assume, well, if he's not fat anymore, is that still fat shaming? He was ashamed that he was fat, and that's why he had to work out. Over the weekend, Max plays tour guide, showing you the highlights of San Francisco. You visit the fresh seafood stands at Fisherman's Wharf, and take the elevator to the top of Coit Tower, where you look out on Alcatraz, the old prison island where the famous Birdman, quote-unquote, spent over 50 years behind bars. In the elevator, you and Max put on tough faces, pretending to be Clint Eastwood and escape from Alcatraz. Later you take a ride on one of the city's famous cable cars, then stroll through Chinatown, where you sample dim sum dumplings. The waiters wheel around carts and yell out the names of the dumplings as they go by. On Sunday morning, you have a great time sailing in the bay on Max's father's new boat. As you're sightseeing, Max's trusty dog, Ollie, is always by your side. Ollie is part Labrador Retriever, part Dalmatian, and quite a character. Part of you suspects Ollie's attentiveness has to do with the fact that Max is always getting him an extra side order of food. But you can also tell that Ollie is a good, loyal friend. Aw. Good, loyal friend. Ollie is also fat. What was an autocorrect? I missed that. It's a most rotund jail. The fat bird man of Alcatraz. That's why he couldn't escape. That's why he had to escape, because he was too fat. Page 10. Oh, Ollie, here's the sandwich. Yeah, the 90s were super weird about weight in general. The worst thing in these books is to be fat or overweight. It's the worst. On Sunday afternoon, Your sightseeing takes you to the San Francisco Marina. Standing outside a fried clam stand in the marina, you feel a sudden violent shaking beneath your feet. For a second, your knees buckle. You can barely stand. The shaking continues for 5 seconds, then suddenly stops. When you look around, everyone seems calm. Have you imagined it? You look at Ollie, who seems to be shaking slightly. Max pauses between bites of clam strips. An earth tremor, he says nonchalantly. They happen a lot. Poor Ollie goes nuts every time. A tremor, you exclaim. You mean an earthquake? A very minor one, Max replies. You get used to them living around here. Doesn't mean the big one's around the corner, you know. I wonder if Professor Bailey's radon readings just shot up, you say. Her what? Max asks sharply. You tell him about meeting Professor Bailey. You give him a brief outline of her work. I've heard about her from a guy I work with at the zoo in the research department, says Max. He may seem a little weird at first, but he's really brilliant. He's working on a theory to predict earthquakes by variations in animal behavior. Some animals seem to become restless before tremors hit. It's revolutionary work. He's up for a major grant and, well, this sounds familiar. That's Max, always eating. Yep. Yeah, there's actually an earthquake in this book? Crazy. Someone's radon reading shot up, if you know what I mean. Oh, yeah. On a very special episode of the Gilmore Girls. We're going to the next page. His name's not Orion, is it? You ask. Are you talking about the Whitbread Prize? One of these times I'm going to say Whitebread Prize instead of Whitbread Prize. Okay. So you've heard of him. And the prize, Max says, amazed. His work isn't very well known yet, but he's close to making a major breakthrough. Professor Bailey seems to be on the verge of something big, too, you say. She said she'd tell us all about it tomorrow when we visit her lab. Cool, says Max. Dr. Orion talks about Professor Bailey as if she's the enemy. I'd like to see what she's really like. On page 34. Eyes on the prize. Hi, Beth. Can we steal his research? His research on animals? Steal his animal research and go in and give it to Lynn Bailey. Maybe. Later that night, you're lying on the extra bed in Max's room, exhausted from your weekend of sightseeing. But Max is keeping you up, talking about Dr. Orion and seismology, and about your upcoming visit to Professor Bailey's lab. As Max is talking, you begin to notice that Ollie is acting strangely. He refuses to lie at the foot of Max's bed. Instead, he's walking around the perimeter of the room. You interrupt Max's monologue. Look at Ollie, you say. Do you think he's okay? Just then, Ollie pauses, turns towards Max, and lets out a big yawn. He's just tired, Max replies, crawling under the covers. Maybe I shouldn't have given him such a large portion of chicken lo mein for dinner. Yeah, maybe not. Oh yeah, maybe Ollie is trying to tell us. He's trying to tell us something. Maybe we'll find out what it is on page 64. As you're drifting off to sleep, you hear Ollie walking around and around the room. Lo mein, you sigh, and pull the pillow over your ears. You wake with a sudden start. The room is completely dark, but you're sure you heard a strange noise. You hear it again. It's whining, and it's coming from the corner. Ollie boy, you whisper, are you okay? You turn on the bedside lamp and watch Ollie with concern. He's pacing back and forth at the other end of the room. He doesn't even look up at you, but continues to whine to himself. Max, you say in a loud whisper. Your friend stirs in his bed and sits up, rubbing his eyes groggily. I think something's wrong with Ollie. Something's wrong. Ollie is trying to tell us he needs to go to the vet. No, yeah, obviously it's about Ollie's weight. Ollie's trying to tell us that he's getting too fat. Turn to page 14. Trying to tell us that he's had too much lo mein. Max watches Ollie for a second and then jumps out of his bed to comfort the dog. Ollie never paces like this, he says. We've got to get him to Dr. Orion for observation first thing tomorrow morning. The zoo's closed on Monday for renovation, but Dr. Orion will probably be there anyway. I think he'll be interested in Ollie's behavior. The way he's been pacing reminds me of the way the Bengal tigers at the zoo have been acting lately. Meaning what, you ask, but you're afraid you already know the answer. Meaning the big one could be just around the corner, Max replies. We don't have any time to waste. We'll just have to go and see your friend Professor Bailey another time. But if a quake is coming, Professor Bailey might be able to tell us exactly when and where, you say. Her radon readings are very precise. Maybe we should go to the lab first, and then take Ollie to the zoo, if she says it's safe. Let's sleep on it, and see how Ollie is in the morning. Let me sleep on it, baby, says Max. Let me know what you want to do then. Oh, Ollie and his free oxen. Ollie, oxen free. Hi, Sean. Dr. Irvine is not a vet. Why would you take Ollie to Dr. Irvine? Right, if you decide to take Ollie to the zoo for Dr. Orion to observe, turn to page 25. If you decide to keep your appointment with Professor Bailey, turn to page 58. Alright, so do we want to visit the Dr. Orion, the New Age nutcase? Or do we want to visit Professor Bailey, who's doing real science? I can't wait till we weigh ourselves. Well, we do live in Vermont, so, you know, probably in some rural area, probably getting plenty of exercise, you know. Or not. Do not take Ollie to that quack, Dr. Orion. Anyone else think we should not take Ollie to that quack, Dr. Orion? Should we keep our appointment with Professor Bailey? Or be like, So Professor Bailey is a seismologist that we met on the plane on our way here, on our way to San Francisco. And she has sparkling deep blue eyes, which our 12-year-old self was pretty fixated on. Screw Orion and his belt. It looks like we're meeting Lynn Bailey then. Page 58. Doesn't sound like anyone wants to meet Dr. Orion. Bailey. Also, Beth also says Bailey. So everyone's for meeting Dr. Bailey. The next morning, Ollie seems alright, so you decide to keep your appointment with Professor Bailey. Even if Ollie's behavior has something to do with seismic activity, you'd think it would be best to see Professor Bailey. Her methods of earthquake prediction seem more reliable than the ones Max has told you Dr. Orion uses. If an earthquake is coming, you figure that Professor Bailey will be the first to know. Let's take Ollie to the lab with us, you say to Max. We'll keep an eye on him there. We can still take him to the zoo later in the afternoon. Okay, Max agrees reluctantly. At 9 o'clock sharp, you, Max, and Ollie step off the elevator at basement level D of the Whitvick Research Center. You ring the buzzer. Professor Bailey opens the door. Right on time, she says in greeting. I like people who are punctual. Hi, you say. This is my friend Max. Ollie jumps out from behind Max and licks Professor Bailey's hand, wagging his tail wildly. The professor laughs, surprised. Nice to meet you, Professor Bailey, says Max. My dog Ollie has been acting a little strange lately, and we didn't want to leave him alone. I hope it's okay for him to be here. Professor Bailey shakes Max's hand, and then Ollie's paw. It's quite all right, Max, she says. Maybe, but we do have some delicate equipment. Maybe Ollie could wait for you in the hall. Yeah, don't bring your dog in here. Have him mess with my delicate equipment here. Yeah, so Ollie does like Dr. Bailey, though. I mean, Ollie did lick her hand, or... yeah, licked her hand. That's what dogs like to do when they like you. They lick your hand. Page 81. The seismology lab is cool and dark. Professor Bailey shows you the seismographs, which measure the Earth's undulatory motions. and the emisographs, which measure radon gas from points all over California. She also introduces you to her colleague, Chamberlain Wurtenberg, a tall, thin woman with flaming red hair and millions of freckles. Chamberlain Wharton, you say, stumbling over her name. My friends call me CW for short, she says, gripping your hand tightly. You should too. She smiles brightly, putting you at ease. Professor Bailey points to a graph measuring radon in the San Rafael area. For several inches there are straight lines, and then a series of jagged ones. This came in late last night, Professor Bailey says with obvious excitement. What does it mean? Max asks. Turn to page 88. We all like Dr. Bailey and his special Irish cream. Yes, it is quite special. She's probably from that same family. That was her grandfather. 88. Page 88. We're not sure, CW replies. But if our theories about prediction are right, it could mean... Just then, one of the seismograph's needles starts to jump up and down furiously. All four of you run towards the machine. The needle jumps for a few more seconds, then calms down. That one was about 3.3 on the Richter scale, says Professor Bailey. It was somewhere off the coast, probably about 60 miles out. An earthquake, you ask, swallowing hard? A very minor one, CW replies. They happen all the time. You get used to them out here. Where have I heard that before, you think? I don't know. A conspiracy is the foot. Yeah, so it's all women scientists. Pretty much. Yes, it's WB and WB and CW. Professor Bailey continues the tour of the lab, explaining the function of various machines and their data tracking methodology. All the research is stored on a mainframe computer up on the second floor in the data collection center, she says. Would you like to go up and see it? I'll telephone Professor Potter to tell him you're friends of mine. He'll show you around. Thanking Professor Bailey, you collect Ollie, who is whining once again, and take the elevator up to the lobby. You're headed for the stairs when you stumble. You look down to see what tripped you, and you realize that the floor is moving. Oh no! Not another tremor, you call out to Max. On to page 82. Oh no, what is it this time? We never mentioned that Max is a spy. He's a spy for... This book is funny about a 3.7 on the Andy Richter scale. Yeah, if we'd gone to Orion, we'd probably be dead, but it would be more interesting. We would have met a lot of zoo animals, I'm sure. But yeah, we'd probably be dead at this point. The floor is lava. Just might be. It's about to turn into lava. Earthquake! Max screams. He dives for you. I almost said he dies for you. He just died for you. He dives for you and pushes you into the doorway of one of the labs. With Ollie cowering between you, you brace yourselves in the doorframe, waiting in terror for the deafening rumble to end. All around you, windows shatter like balloons burst with pins. The floor seems to be moving up and down, like turbulent waves at the ocean. Then, as suddenly as it began, the earthquake is over. The rumbling noise stops, and Ollie ceases barking. All is ominously quiet. I guess the quake came earlier than Professor Bailey expected, Max says. We've got to make sure she's all right, you say. Come on, this way. Max and Ollie follow you down the broken concrete stairs to the basement. The hallways are deserted. A backup generator powers a small, dim light overhead. Oh man, here we are with our best friend. Our best annoying friend. Windows don't shatter like balloons burst with pin. Moving floor, rotating restaurant. I thought they did burst like balloons. Yeah, it doesn't seem like the right metaphor for that. It just didn't seem. This is not the right. our thin best friend. Look at how he is pretty thin. He's not a fatty anymore now that he's gone to California. Come on, 38, page 38. Maybe they already got out, Max says hopefully. Ollie sniffs at a heavy metal door and begins barking. Just then, you hear a faint call for help from behind the door. Together, you frantically begin pushing, trying to open it a few inches. Something has fallen behind the door and forced it shut. Professor Bailey, you shout. Is that you? For a second, there's nothing but silence. Then, you hear another cry for help. Come on, Max says, pushing a large metal table from across the hall. You both get behind the table and, at the count of 3, push with all your might. With a sudden loud crunch of metal, the door swings open 2 feet. Ollie runs inside, still barking. You squeeze through into the inner darkness after him. Hello, you call out hopefully. Over here, a voice calls back. You and Max stumble towards the sound. You bang your shin painfully what seems like an overturned metal filing cabinet. You grope around in the dark, and suddenly a hand grasps yours. It's Professor Bailey. Help me, she says. This fell on me, and I can't move. With extreme care, you and Max pull the cabinet into a standing position. In the dim light, you can't see the extent of Professor Bailey's injuries, but she's in bad shape. She seems to be on the verge of losing consciousness. We've got to carry Professor Bailey out of here, Max tells you quietly. This building won't last much longer if there's an aftershock. Oh no. The inner darkness they enter symbolizes the inner darkness in all of us. That's true. Oh, sorry, I didn't drink some water here. Oh, okay. Turn to page 66. I've fallen and I can't get up. Push it real good. Push it real good. No, Professor Bailey says in a harsh whisper. Leave me for the rescue squad. They'll find me. I need you both to do something much more important. She's quiet for a moment as she gathers the strength to speak. The second floor. The data collection center, she gasps. Go there and read the mimeographs. This wasn't the big one. This was just a foreshock. The mimeograph with the highest radon reading will tell you where the big one will hit, probably later today. You have to go warn people. Professor Bailey, you plead. We can't just leave you. What if they don't find you? What if you just lie there? Never mind me, she commands. The strength in her voice surprises you. We're talking about saving hundreds of people, not just me. Now hurry. You look at Max, who looks back at you, shaking his head. You've got to do something, and fast. If you follow Professor Bailey's plea and go to the data collection center, turn to page 74. If you carry Professor Bailey to safety, turn to page 23. What are we going to do? Carry her to safety? Because our thin friend pushed us into a doorway. Yes. Our thin friend saved us. So Valerie says we should carry her. Anyone think we should just leave her there and go to the data collection center? Like, what if she dies? We'll never live. We'll never be able to live with the guilt. Limbo. Limbo, does that mean leave her there? Leave her in limbo? And I will always love you. Carry her. Valerie says don't you dare leave her. Beth says carry her. Sounds like, Rachel, you're saying that we should leave her there? Sue, hi Sue. Sue says carry her. You're going to carry that weight. Boy, you're going to carry that weight a long time. Dun, 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 dun. All right, I guess we're gonna carry her to safety. Seems like most people don't want to just leave her there. No, the bodyguard always carry. Okay. Right. Okay. We'll compromise, you tell Professor Bailey. Max nods in agreement. We'll carry you out of here, but the second we get you safely outside, we'll sneak back in and go to the data collection center. You know Professor Bailey is too weak to argue anymore. Ollie nudges her with his nose. She sighs deeply and shuts her eyes. We'd better hurry, Max tells you. She doesn't look good. You begin ripping up a canvas lab coat while Max pries apart a wooden bookcase. In a few minutes' time, you secure Professor Bailey to a makeshift stretcher and quickly lift her to shoulder height. The adrenaline in your system makes Professor Bailey feel as light as a feather. Or it could just be that she's really thin too. Or no, it's the adrenaline. So much adrenaline pumping through our system. We feel so strong right now. Oh, page 8. Cautiously, you and Max maneuver the stretcher out the narrow doorway and down the hall. Ollie is in the lead. He is nimble on his paws, picking his way through the earthquake's debris. Once you reach the stairway, you glance down at the professor. She is a frightening shade of white. Step on it, you bark at Max. Without looking back, he picks up his pace. Just as you reach the stairwell, a slow rumble begins, building in intensity. Max pauses under the doorframe, wincing at the aftershock. It soon passes, and he begins leading you up the cracked staircase. With greater speed, you push through the side entrance of the building and into the alley. Max pauses and looks back at the professor. She is barely breathing. Oh no. Luckily, Max's last name is Power. Max Power. Oh, there we are, carrying her out, and there's Ollie and Max and us. Page 70. Frightening shade of white, as if white people weren't scary enough. Well, this is beyond white. This is a new level. Alright, page 70. She's gone into shock, Max yells as you place Professor Bailey's stretcher down carefully. Quickly turning around, Max runs towards the mouth of the alley. You keep pace. Over here! Over here, you scream as you spot a member of a rescue squad. 2 emergency medical team members descend on Professor Bailey, listen for her pulse, then hook her up to an IV. One begins to administer CPR, while the other blows air into her lungs. After several frantic minutes, Professor Bailey sputters and coughs, then begins to breathe normally once again. Ollie licks her hand happily. You boys saved this woman's life, one of the team members tells you. You have a lot to be proud of. You motion towards the alley entrance. Now, onto the data collection center, you whisper to Max. Ollie jumps up and runs to your side. You only hope that you have enough time to read the graphs and warn people before the big one hits. The end. Why is it the end? Like, aren't we supposed to, aren't we supposed to, help people when the big one hits? And it's just like, it stops just as that's about to happen. I can't imagine CPR is good for someone who just had their chest crushed by a filing cabinet. Well, I mean, they're probably lying to us. They're like, she's gonna be fine, kids. Don't worry. Why are you zipping her up into that bag? That's what we always do. To save people. I don't know, should we just leave her behind then and try to get to the data collection center before the big one hits? Or is that too terrible? Or do we want to go to the zoo instead? We did have the option to go to the zoo and learn about how animals can detect earthquakes before they happen. Yeah, we could go to the, yeah, so I'm thinking we could go to the data collection center, or yeah, we could check out the zoo and learn about this crazy new age. I want Ollie to bite that other professor. Which other professor? Let's all go to the zoo. Okay. Let's all go to the zoo. I think that'll be fun. Ollie isn't quite as nervous in the morning, but you decide that the way he behaved last night was too strange to ignore. You call Professor Bailey to reschedule your appointment for the afternoon and head for the zoo with Ollie in tow. As you pass under the zoo's wrought iron gates, you leave the busy city behind and enter a world of exotic plants and animals. You are struck by the beauty of your surroundings, the lush vegetation, and the discreet barriers holding the animals in their natural pens. It's almost as if there were no cages and that the animals roamed free, just like in the real jungle. Yeah, right. The zoo is closed to the public today in preparation for the grand opening of a new rainforest exhibit. Walking around, you feel like you and Max are the only humans around. Max's voice jars you back to reality. "Pretty impressive, huh?" he says with pride. "This way. I want to introduce you to my mentor, Dr. Farnsworth Orion." So we're going to the zoo. We're at the zoo. Turn to page 36. You find Dr. Orion roaming the zoo, checking on various animals. He grasps your hand in both of his, gazing intently into your eyes. He's a big, burly man with a substantial stomach. His long, curly brown hair melts into his heavy beard, giving him the appearance of a happy-go-lucky caveman. No wonder this guy gets along with animals, you think to yourself. He could be the missing link. There he is. Looks like he's got a substantial stomach. For sure. There he is. And there's some animals in the background. He must be evil. He will never win that grant at that weight. Rachel just says fat. Good news, everyone. It's now a suppository. Turn to page 18. He has a substantial stomach. They'll never run out of like ways to tell people how fat someone is in these books. That's a new one. Max tells Dr. Orion about Ollie's odd behavior. "Very interesting," he says, stroking his beard. "And I'm impressed that you could read the dog's emotions," he says to you. "I feel a good aura surrounding your being. You have a gift for communicating with animals." You stifle a laugh. You can't believe that this guy is for real. Dr. Orion takes a break from his studies and gives you a personal tour of the zoo. You visit the bear grotto, where Kodiak, spectacled, and polar bears, ranging in size from 800 to 1,200 pounds, frolic lazily near a stone waterfall. Then it's on to visit some reptiles. You hate snakes, and you wrinkle your nose in disgust as you follow Dr. Orion and Max into the dark interior of a nearby building. "Brewster!" Dr. Orion calls out to a small, dark-haired man with a garter snake coiled around his wrist. "How about a quick snake-holding demonstration for my young friends?" Max eagerly approaches Brewster, but you're not so quite anxious to touch the reptile. "You handle snakes very gently, but firmly," says Brewster. "First, you grasp their heads to prevent them from biting. Then you grasp their tails to immobilize them." Brewster expertly demonstrates his technique. "Now for lunch," he says. You watch in disgust as he feeds a small rat to the snake. It is swallowed whole. Okay, I don't think that's how snakes eat. I don't think that's how that works. Like, you did no research on snakes whatsoever. You just take a rat and they just swallow it whole. Yep, sure thing. Okay, so Dr. Bailey made some valid points. You think so? If it ends up being evil, you should burn that book. Maybe. Maybe we'll burn the book anyways. Go on to the next page. Dr. Orion smiles as he watches your face. All species of snakes, and there are over 2,700 species worldwide, eat their food without chewing. Fascinating creatures. They're also totally deaf, sensing ground vibrations as a means of detecting enemies or prey. Snakes are extremely important to my research right now, especially the zoo's rainbow boa, Fang. He's extremely temperamental, but he's a very sensitive creature. Okay, so it looks like there's an earthquake already. Okay, go to page 41. Maybe we'll get to meet Fang. Can we meet Fang? I don't know, maybe. Snake folding? Maybe. Next on the tour is the zoo's brand new rainforest exhibit, scheduled to open to the public tomorrow. A large climate-controlled glass dome traps the humidity characteristic of rainforests, giving the exhibit a steamy, tropical feeling. Max leads you to his favorite animals in the exhibit, a pair of extremely rare lemurs. They look like small, exotic monkeys. These are on the endangered species list, Dr. Irvine says quietly. You watch as the graceful animals swing back and forth between branches. We're hoping they'll breed and produce a litter soon. Eventually the zoo hopes to be able to release the lemurs back into the wild, where they can repopulate the rainforest. The lemur population is down to almost nothing due to development. You notice a large snake in a glass cage immediately to the left of the lemurs. Dr. Orion catches your eye. A puff adder, he says. One of the deadliest snakes in the world. Why is it right next to the lemurs, you ask? Well, they're natural neighbors, Dr. Irvine says. They live in the same fragile ecosystem. They don't look like very friendly neighbors, you comment under your breath. You're glad the glass walls of the cage are so thick. There we are. There's the lemurs. There we are. And there's the snake. That is pretty close. And good thing they're separated by glass. Can we pet a lemur? Maybe. Endangered, so we put them next to the big snake. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, aren't we all sensitive creatures, really? Dr. Irvine winds up the tour at the Lion House, a sprawling granite structure surrounded by fields meant to simulate the plains of Africa. Come see this, Dr. Irvine says excitedly. You follow him into the dark recesses of the structure. You hear the quiet, rhythmic pacing of a large, restless animal. Peering through the darkness, you see an enormous male tiger striding back and forth. The tiger gracefully comes to a stop and eyes you intensely. This is the zoo's pride and joy, Dr. Irvine whispers in hushed tones. Citruk, a rare Bengal tiger from India, Latin name Panthera tigris. He's about 9.5 feet tall when he stands on his hind legs. He may look fierce, but he's really just a pussycat. Citrus mate, Zoe, is about to deliver a litter of cubs, Dr. Irvine continues quietly. The zookeeper thinks that's why he's pacing so much, but I'm convinced it relates to my theory about animal behavior immediately preceding an earthquake. Fingers crossed that I'm right. You nod politely, but you're not sure you share his hope. Yeah, I sure hope there's a giant earthquake coming soon. It's going to be so exciting. Turn to page 15. Can't wait to all get killed. You spend the rest of the morning helping Max finish a computer program meant to track the nocturnal habits of the zoo animals. There are video monitors strategically placed in certain cages to monitor animal movements. Dr. Orion is particularly excited about Citruk's behavior. I plan to spend the afternoon inside the tiger cage, he says, when you are leaving to keep your appointment with Dr. Bailey. I want to be able to communicate with the animals as one, to feel what they feel, to develop my animal sense. Okay, well, good luck with that. Turn to page 67. Good luck becoming one with the animals. Now let's go talk to Dr. Bailey. You think Dr. Orion is pretty weird, but he seems nice enough. You, Max, and Ollie say goodbye and begin the walk to Professor Bailey's lab. Soon after leaving the zoo, you pass a corner grocery store. "Let's stop in here and get Ollie a bone," Max says. He seems upset again. Maybe a snack would just calm him down. Suddenly, just as you step out of the shop, Ollie suddenly stops in his tracks and stares up at you, fear in his eyes. He lets out a loud bark. "What is it, boy?" Max asks, concerned. Just then, a deathly silence settles over the city as a slow rumble from deep within the earth begins to build and build. The pavement beneath your feet starts to sway. You throw your arms out for balance. You feel like you're surfing and about to crash into the biggest wave of your life. Terrified, you look towards Max. "Hang on," he yells over the thunderous rumble. "It's an earthquake! A big one!" Turn to page 87. It's the big one. "An earthquake! You're so stunned you can't move. This is just what you've been fearing." Max grabs you and hangs on for dear life. Ollie leans against you, trembling in fear. You hear a whistling sound, and then a crash. You turn around and see that the large metal grocery sign has fallen off the roof of the building and narrowly missed crushing you. Well, looks like that old guy got crushed instead. Okay. Wow, and there's Ollie freaking out. Okay. Turn to page 24. We cannot take a hint. Yeah, I think in our hearts we know. Become one equals eaten. I was thinking of making that joke, but yeah. He's definitely going to become one with that Bengal tiger, that's for sure. He'll definitely feel what they feel. Or something. Inside their stomach. Suddenly the rumbling slows, then stops. For a second, you hear nothing but silence. Then pure chaos. People are screaming everywhere. Out on the street, from their cars, from the windows of nearby buildings. The sound that almost crushed you has fallen on an old man instead, pinning him beneath it. "We have to help that man," you shout to Max. "That could have been us under that sign." "But what about Dr. Orion?" asks Max. "He's in the tiger cage with Citric. Citric's a huge, dangerous predator. Even though Orion works with him every day, who knows what might happen if Citric's injured and upset. We've got to get back to the zoo right away. I think I hear sirens. I'm sure emergency rescue workers will get here soon." Every second counts. You've got to decide what you're going to do, and fast. If you choose to help the old man pinned down by the sign, turn to page 43. If you choose to run immediately to the zoo to help Dr. Orion, turn to page 32. So do we help the old man that's pinned down by a sign? Or do we help Dr. Orion save Dr. Orion from his own new age craziness? Maybe it's too late. Maybe Dr. Orion's already won with the tiger. Yeah, Dr. Orion's probably, or maybe not even hurt. So do we help the guy that we know is definitely hurt, or help the guy that might be hurt? Or maybe Dr. Orion's hurt more than this guy. Who knows? Well, this guy probably won't die, but Dr. Orion might die if... Yeah, I mean, we're assuming a lot here. We are assuming a lot here. If, I don't know. I mean, Dr. Orion, that was like, you know... He chose to, like, place himself in that danger. And this guy didn't. But then again, we know Dr. Orion, or our friend does, and if we don't help Dr. Orion, maybe our friend will not want to be our friend anymore. The only reason not to help save this old guy is if we want a horrible ending. Anyone else think we should help the old guy without the sign falling him? How fat? Yeah, that's true. How fat is the old guy? He looks pretty fat. Yeah, he looks pretty fat. Maybe we shouldn't help him. I mean, maybe that's his own fault that he got trapped under that sign because of his fatness. So, where was that? I don't know. I forget what page that was now. All right. All right. I guess we'll help the old guy. If we don't help the old guy, I'm sure we'll regret it. Page 43. You can't just leave this old man. He's suffering right in front of you. Hurry, Max, you say, running towards the old man. We'll go check if Dr. Irvine is okay. As soon as we get help out here, you and Max struggle to lift the fallen sign from the man's legs. Ollie joins in the rescue effort, nudging the heavy sign with his nose. Together, the three of you are finally able to shove the sign aside. The man gasps in pain. I'll be forever grateful to you, the old man says in a whisper. Gently, you grasp his hand. He looks a little like your grandfather. It's just what anyone would do, you say modestly. You can hear the sound of sirens getting closer. Just lie still. An ambulance will be here soon. I'm grateful. I'd like to make it up to you, he says hoarsely. As soon as I recover, I promise to. The man's whisper is cut short by Max's yelling. Over here, he calls. A paramedic is climbing out of the ambulance that has just pulled up to the curb. He's badly hurt. His legs look like they've been crushed. The paramedic drops to his feet and begins to examine the old man. With sudden surprise, he cries, Farley McEachron! You boys have rescued Farley McEachron, one of the city's wealthiest and kindest philanthropists. The old man smiles, embarrassed. Oh, we saved a rich guy. Wow, this is great. I thought he was just some random old dude, but he's actually Farley McEachron. We're so lucky here. Page 4. A week later, after you've checked on your friends and the chaos has died down, you visit Farley McEachron in his hospital suite. The paramedic wasn't kidding. Mr. McEachron is extremely wealthy, and he makes good on his promise to you. I told you I'd be forever grateful for your help, he says brightly, and I am. He hands you and Max thin envelopes bearing his family crest. You rip yours open in surprise and anticipation. You can't believe your eyes. $100,000, Max says in shock. It's for your education, Farley interrupts, grinning from ear to ear. And education helped me get to where I am today, and I want you two to have the same opportunity. You and Max turn towards each other and smile gleefully. A photographer quickly snaps your picture. Tomorrow morning, your story will be on the front page of every newspaper from coast to coast. I need to find this old man too. Well, maybe if there's just wait for there to be an earthquake or for there to be the big one, and just hang out there and like find an old guy and ask him if he's rich, and then if he is, then like save him, I guess. In today's world, that covers maybe 2 years of school. I want to cover some of your education, and the rest of it you have to pay for on your own. Yeah, we do look very happy there. Look at that, and he's pretty happy. It's like the plot of Xanadu, you know. And except instead of starting our own roller skating rink, we're gonna pay for our education. No, it's not like Xanadu. A little like Xanadu. Like he wanted to achieve his dreams of building that roller skating rink. The only way he could do it was with that old man's money. That old man he just happened to randomly find playing a flute or whatever on the pier.
Come on.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It was a clarinet.
Or whatever, yeah, clarinet. Here is $100,000, and here is an explanation of compound interest. You'll have to wait till you're 30 years old to go to college, but it'll be worth it. You can tell he's rich because he has a nice robe. Yep. And he's smiling. I mean, an old guy in the hospital, like thinking of all the hospital bills they'd have to pay. If they weren't rich, they wouldn't be smiling. They'd be like, I'm going to be in debt for the rest of my life. Just kill me. Just kill me now. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to stop. Yeah. Yeah. It was we didn't get to meet. Well, it was funny. Like we saved his life, and then we just like totally forgot about Daddy Earthquake. It's like Daddy Warbucks. It's funny. We saved his life and found he was rich, and then we like totally forgot about Dr. Orion, or we also forgot about Dr. Bailey too. We didn't even like mention once whether wonder if she was okay or not. We're like, we're rich. Who cares? Oh, let's see. Oh, look at that. That was the Bengal tiger. They wouldn't hurt anybody. Any more pictures of a Bengal tiger? No. What other adventures might have awaited us here? Oh, this is when we got this one we get killed by the snake. That's cool. You feel the poison flowing through our system. Too bad we didn't get to that. Oh, look at that. That's where she had her cubs. Awesome. That would have been nice. Anyways, yeah, so I think we'll stop here for tonight. I hope you have all enjoyed our earthquake adventure together, and yeah, it was really exciting to learn more about the big one. The big one is like, yeah, it was definitely big, and it was one. So yeah, cool. All right, well, yeah. So again, I thank you all for sticking around to learn about the big one, and I'll be back in a week to read another Choose Your Own Adventure, or wait, maybe a Which Way book. Got some of those too. So yeah, I hope you all have a good night and have a great week. Take care. Oh, you're welcome, Sue. All right. You guys have a good night.